Hello, everyone, and welcome to Practice English TV. I'm Mark, and we're really happy you're here with us today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. Thanks for joining us wherever you're listening from.
Today's episode is about a very real and relatable topic: what to say to a rude customer at work.
Yeah, especially those stressful moments when a customer becomes impatient, complains loudly, or makes the conversation uncomfortable.
We'll talk about realistic situations, awkward moments, and natural phrases people actually use when handling difficult customers at work.
And if you've ever felt nervous, pressured, or unsure what to say during a tense conversation in English, you're definitely not alone.
And if you enjoy English learning with us, don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with another English learner.
Thank you so much for being here and learning with us today. Let's begin and talk about what to say to a rude customer at work together.
So imagine you're working at a store or maybe at a front desk somewhere. The day is going normally, and then suddenly a customer walks in already looking upset.
Yeah, you can usually feel the tension immediately. Sometimes they don't even say hello first.
Exactly. They walk up quickly and say something like, "I've been waiting for 20 minutes," or "This is ridiculous."
And right away, you start trying very hard to sound calm and professional.
Especially when other customers are nearby or your manager is around.
I used to work at a small clothing store, and one time a customer came in angry because she bought the wrong size.
Oh no.
Yeah, and before I could explain the return policy, she said, "Why does this always happen here?"
That's hard because the customer already sounds upset before the conversation even begins.
Exactly. So I said, "I'm really sorry about that. Let me see what I can do."
And inside, you're also trying not to make the situation worse.
Right. I was trying to remember the policy while also choosing my words carefully.
Sometimes your heart starts beating faster, and suddenly, simple English feels harder.
Yes, even simple words feel difficult because you start overthinking everything.
Here's another situation. Imagine you work at a restaurant, and a customer has been waiting a long time for food.
When you walk to the table, they immediately say, "We ordered 30 minutes ago."
So now you're standing there while everyone at the table looks annoyed.
So you probably say something like, "I'm very sorry for the delay. I'll go check on your order right now."
But sometimes the customer keeps talking before you can even finish.
Yeah, they might say, "This place is always slow," or "We're really disappointed."
And you want to explain the situation, but you also don't want to sound defensive.
Exactly, because if you sound defensive, the customer can become even more frustrated.
I remember one time I worked at a customer service desk during a busy weekend. A man came in angry because his online order was late.
That already sounds stressful.
Yeah, and he spoke very fast. I missed one detail, so I asked him to repeat it.
And did that make him more upset?
A little. He sighed loudly and said, "I already explained this."
That sigh always makes the situation feel worse somehow.
Yeah, it really does.
Sometimes customers are not yelling, but they still create pressure with their tone.
That's true. Even quiet frustration can make you nervous.
And in English, that pressure can feel even stronger because you're trying to sound polite and clear at the same time.
But these situations happen everywhere. Stores, hotels, restaurants, offices. It's a very normal part of working with people.
And over time, you slowly learn how to respond more naturally and stay calmer during difficult conversations.
I was thinking about this the other day. One of the hardest parts about dealing with rude customers is that the situation can change very quickly.
Yeah, sometimes a conversation starts normally and then suddenly the customer becomes impatient.
Exactly. You're answering questions, everything seems fine, and then one misunderstanding changes the mood completely.
That happened to me once when I worked at a hotel front desk. A guest came down late at night because the air conditioner in his room wasn't working properly.
Oh, that's already stressful.
Yeah, and he looked really tired. He walked up and said, "I called 20 minutes ago. Why is nobody helping me?"
That immediately puts pressure on the conversation.
Exactly. I was still pretty new at the job, so I got nervous fast. I tried to explain that maintenance was helping another room first.
But he probably didn't want an explanation at that moment.
Not really. He interrupted me and said, "I don't care about the other room. I paid for this room."
Yeah, once customers feel uncomfortable, they sometimes stop listening.
Right. And honestly, I started worrying about my English too. I didn't want to say the wrong thing.
That happens a lot in stressful situations.
So I just said, "I understand. I'm very sorry. Let me call maintenance again right now."
Simple language usually works better in tense moments.
Definitely.
Here's another situation. Imagine you work at a coffee shop during the morning rush.
Everybody's busy, people are waiting, and the line is long.
A customer orders a drink, but when they get it, it's wrong.
So they come back to the counter looking annoyed.
And they say, "This isn't what I ordered."
At that moment, you immediately feel pressure because there are more customers waiting behind them.
You might say, "I'm sorry about that. Let me remake it for you."
But sometimes the customer keeps going. They might say, "This happens every time."
And then you don't really know if you should apologize again or explain what happened.
Exactly. Sometimes you just focus on staying calm and solving the problem quickly.
I had a situation like that when I worked in retail. A customer wanted to return something without a receipt.
Oh, those conversations are always uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I understood why he was frustrated, but store policy was very strict.
So what happened?
I explained politely that I needed a receipt for the return. Then he crossed his arms and said, "So you're saying you can't help me?"
That question feels difficult because it sounds very personal.
Exactly. For a second, I didn't know how to answer.
Right, because saying no directly can make things worse.
So I paused and said, "I want to help, but I need to follow the store policy."
That's actually a very natural response.
Yeah, and after that, he calmed down a little.
Sometimes customers mainly want to feel heard.
I think so too.
And honestly, these situations can feel emotionally tiring after a while.
Yeah, even one difficult customer can change your whole mood for an hour.
But little by little, you learn how to respond more confidently and keep the conversation under control.
Let's slow things down a little and look at some common words and phrases people often hear during difficult customer situations at work.
Yeah, these are the kinds of expressions that come up naturally in stores, restaurants, hotels, and customer service jobs.
One very common word is issue.
An issue means a problem or something that is not working correctly.
For example, a customer might say, "I'm having an issue with my order."
Or an employee might say, "Let me check the issue for you."
Another common word is delay.
A delay means something is taking longer than expected.
You may hear sentences like, "I'm sorry for the delay," or "There was a delay in the system."
Now let's talk about the word receipt.
A receipt is the paper or digital record that shows what you bought.
Customers often need a receipt for returns or exchanges.
Here's a small situation. A customer wants to return a product, but they don't have the receipt.
You might say, "Do you still have the receipt?" Or, "I'm sorry, but I need the receipt for the return."
Another important word is manager.
Sometimes customers ask to speak to the manager when they are unhappy.
You may hear, "Can I speak to your manager?" during tense situations. Another useful expression is, "Let me check."
For example, "Let me check your order," or "Let me check the system."
You're not giving an immediate answer. You're telling the customer you're looking into the problem.
Now let's talk about apologizing politely.
One of the most common phrases is, "I'm sorry about that."
You can also say, "I apologize for the inconvenience."
Inconvenience means something caused trouble or made things difficult for the customer.
Here's another small situation. A customer waited a very long time for help.
You could say, "I'm very sorry for the wait."
That's short, polite, and professional.
Another useful phrase is, "I understand your frustration."
Even if you cannot solve the problem immediately, this phrase helps show that you are listening.
Now let's look at the word policy.
A policy is an official rule at a store or company.
For example, store policy requires a receipt for returns.
Another phrase you'll hear often is, "Let me see what I can do."
This phrase sounds supportive without making a promise too quickly.
Now imagine this situation. A customer says, "I've explained this 3 times already."
A calm response could be, "I understand. Let me confirm the information again."
Confirm means checking information carefully to make sure it is correct.
And that's something employees do all the time during stressful conversations.
Especially when there is confusion or a misunderstanding.
The good thing is that most workplace conversations use the same kinds of simple phrases again and again.
So once you become familiar with them, difficult situations start to feel more manageable.
Let's imagine a real situation together. You're working at a customer service desk in a busy electronics store.
It's crowded, people are waiting, phones are ringing, and everybody looks a little tired.
Then a customer walks quickly towards the counter holding a small box.
You can already tell he's upset before he even starts talking.
He puts the box on the counter and says, "I bought this 2 days ago and it already stopped working."
So you try to stay calm and professional.
You say, "I'm sorry to hear that. Let me take a look for you."
The customer sighs and says, "I don't understand why this always happens."
So you open the box and check the product.
Then you ask, "Do you still have the receipt with you?"
The customer immediately sounds more annoyed. He says, "Seriously, I already showed it to the other employee."
That kind of response can make you nervous very quickly.
Yeah, because now you feel like even simple questions are making the customer more upset.
So instead of arguing, you say, "I'm sorry about that. I just want to confirm the information."
The customer hands you the receipt, but he still looks impatient.
Now you check the computer system.
But the system is loading slowly.
Yeah, and that's one of the worst feelings during customer service work.
The customer crosses his arms and says, "Why is this taking so long?"
You take a breath and say, "I apologize for the wait. The system is moving a little slowly right now."
The customer shakes his head and says, "Unbelievable."
You start worrying about every word you say after that.
Finally, the information appears on the screen.
You realize the product can be exchanged, but only for the same model.
So you explain carefully. You say, "I can replace the item for you today, but it has to be the same model."
The customer immediately says, "I don't want the same model. This one is terrible."
Now the conversation becomes more difficult because you need to explain store policy carefully.
So you say, "I understand your frustration. Unfortunately, the exchange policy only allows the same item."
The customer stays quiet for a second.
Yeah, sometimes silence feels even more stressful than yelling.
Yeah, exactly, because you're waiting to see what happens next.
Then the customer says, "Can I speak to a manager?"
That question always changes the atmosphere a little.
But you still answer politely. You say, "Of course, 1 moment, please."
While waiting for the manager, the customer starts talking again.
He says, "I've wasted my whole afternoon here."
At that point, you know the customer mainly wants someone to listen.
So instead of defending yourself, you say, "I understand this has been frustrating."
The manager finally arrives and speaks with the customer for a few minutes.
In the end, the manager offers store credit instead of an exchange.
The customer slowly calms down after that.
Yeah, sometimes you don't realize how tense your body was until the customer leaves.
Exactly. Then suddenly you feel exhausted.
Customer service work can be emotionally tiring in that way.
But moments like this also help people become more confident over time.
Yeah, you slowly learn how to stay calmer even when the situation feels uncomfortable.
Let's go through some useful phrases people often use when they are dealing with upset or impatient customers at work.
Yeah, these are the kinds of sentences that sound natural during stressful situations.
One of the most common phrases is, "I'm sorry about that."
You can use it when a customer is frustrated, confused, or disappointed.
For example, if someone says their order is late, you can respond with, "I'm sorry about that. Let me check your order."
Another very natural phrase is, I understand.
You can say, "I understand your frustration," or "I understand why you're upset."
These responses sound calm. They do not argue with the customer.
Here's a small situation. A customer says, "I've been waiting forever."
You might answer, I understand. I'm very sorry for the delay.
Another useful phrase is, "Let me check."
You can say, let me check the system, or let me check with my manager.
And honestly, during stressful conversations, having a moment to think can really help.
Definitely, sometimes your mind moves slower because you're nervous.
Another phrase people use often is, "Let me see what I can do."
This is useful because it sounds supportive without promising too much.
Now imagine this situation. A customer says, "This is unacceptable."
Yeah, especially if they say it loudly in front of other people.
A calm response could be, "I'm sorry you had this experience. Let me try to help."
Notice how the employee stays calm instead of reacting emotionally.
Another helpful phrase is, "Can you please explain what happened?"
This helps you understand the problem clearly before reacting too quickly.
Now let's look at a difficult moment. A customer interrupts you while you're speaking.
That happens a lot during tense conversations.
Instead of getting defensive, you can pause and say, "I understand. Let me explain."
Or, I'd like to help if I can.
Both sound calm and respectful.
Another useful phrase is, thank you for your patience.
For example, "Thank you for your patience while I check the information."
Here's another small situation. The customer is becoming more upset and you need help from a manager.
You can say, "Let me get my manager for you."
That sounds more professional than simply saying, I don't know.
Another phrase that helps during misunderstandings is, "Let me confirm that."
Confirm means checking information carefully again.
Now imagine a customer says, "I already explained this."
You could answer, I apologize. Let me confirm the details again.
That response sounds calm and respectful instead of defensive.
And honestly, tone matters just as much as vocabulary.
That's why many employees try to speak a little slower during stressful moments.
It helps them stay calm and avoid mistakes.
The good thing is that most workplace situations use the same kinds of phrases again and again.
So the more you hear them, the more natural they start to feel.
Before we finish today, let's talk about a few simple things that can help during stressful conversations with customers at work.
Yeah, difficult situations still feel uncomfortable sometimes, but small habits can make them easier to handle.
One important thing is to slow down a little when you speak.
Especially when you feel nervous.
A lot of people start speaking too quickly during stressful moments.
So even taking one small breath before answering can help.
Another good habit is listening carefully before reacting.
Sometimes customers mainly want to explain their frustration.
Here's a small situation. A customer walks up and immediately starts complaining about a late order.
Instead of defending yourself right away, you listen first and let them finish talking.
Then you respond calmly with something like, "I understand. Let me check that for you."
Simple responses often work better than long explanations.
Another important thing is staying polite even when the customer sounds rude.
That can be really difficult sometimes.
Definitely, especially when you feel stressed or embarrassed.
But staying calm usually helps you keep control of the conversation.
And honestly, many customers calm down faster when the employee stays professional.
Here's another situation. A customer says, this place has terrible service.
That comment can feel very personal.
Yeah, your first reaction inside might be frustration.
But instead of reacting emotionally, you could say, "I'm sorry you feel that way. Let me see what I can do."
That response sounds calm and respectful.
Another helpful tip is remembering that you do not need perfect English.
That's very important.
A lot of English learners become nervous because they worry about grammar mistakes during stressful conversations.
But in real workplace situations, clear communication matters more than perfect grammar.
You can say things like, "I understand," "I'm sorry about that," or "let me check."
Short, clear, calm, and professional.
Now we have a question for you.
Have you ever dealt with a rude customer or an uncomfortable situation at work?
And what was the hardest part for you? Understanding the customer, staying calm, or knowing what to say?
And if you like, you can write your answers in English in the comments.
That's a great way to practice and connect with other learners.
Even short answers are good practice.
Thank you so much for listening and spending time with us today.
We hope this episode helped you feel a little more confident about handling stressful conversations in English.
These situations are not always easy, but the more you practice, the more natural they become.
Take care, keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.